Saranya thing which keeps coming up on my share.
Well, like, hello everyone. Welcome to the instant reaction from the Austrian sprint race. Um, 23 laps, should have been 24, but there was some weirdness at the start. They made a extra formation lap, but it was a
Yeah.
great sprint. The initial few laps, wasn't it, Aniket? Lando went from second to first to third.
Yeah, so the initial, obviously we had the aborted start with the extra formation lap, and then Lando and Oscar were pretty close to Max in the first few laps. Lando actually got past him, and then Max got past Lando again on the next corner, and then Oscar got past Lando in the same sequence as well.
Yep.
So basically, the McLarens were fighting each other, and in all of that, Max, swooped and took the lead again, and then he never looked back after that.
Yeah, and also I think the Red Bull was clearly faster than the McLaren too. Because
Hmm.
when he saw Max overtake Lando, Lando still had DRS, and Max was like, "Yeah, no big deal. I'm
Yeah.
overtaking you." And he ended the race 5 seconds ahead of Oscar. So
Yeah, so what
I think
happened was that the McLarens kept on squabbling against each other, and that allowed Max to capitalize on that lead. So
true.
there was no McLaren in the end challenging Max.
Yeah,
So it became a Lando Oscar two horse race for the final podium
yeah.
positions,
And
and
Lando
then
also couldn't pull off the overtake either on Oscar. He came close, but Oscar had
yeah,
great defense, right?
even with the overtake with Max, I think Lando like did all he could, but he just left that extra space on the inside in the next straight, and
Yeah,
that allowed Max to get the toe as well as to get past him on that
yeah,
corner. Otherwise, Norris had the DRS as well going into the next straight, and he had a clear advantage. It was just his car positioning that was not the best.
yeah. But still, I mean, just the fact that Max could still overtake a car with DRS just still shows
Yeah,
that they're a car beat, right? Uh,
yeah,
but
with Max for sure.
if you look at the other Red Bull, though, 17 and a half seconds behind Max.
So I guess we now have a clear pecking order, right? We know that the McLaren is like going to be the closest challenger to Max, and then we have the Ferrari versus Mercedes battle, which is like,
Hey,
you
four
know,
and six again.
huh?
4 and 6 again.
4 and 6 and 5 and 7. So I guess we're going to see a Ferrari Mercedes battle this weekend, and
Yeah,
McLaren trying to compete with Max. So that's how it's going to pan out. And then we're probably going to see a very lonely race from Sergio Perez, who again did not have any impact on this sprint. In a
yep.
23 lap race, he had no impact. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
what kind of impact he would have in a longer format, unless he
How many-
qualifies towards the front of the grid.
yeah, isn't it like 70 laps or something tomorrow?
Yeah,
So
71 laps, I guess.
yeah,
With
so
how short the lap is, the last for this without any safety cars, this race would probably be over in like an hour and 20 minutes.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, 71 laps and you know what,
Yeah.
70 seconds. Yeah, that's not a lot. Um, but yeah, that's a good. I mean, I think otherwise, behind the front, it's we had a bit of a churn going in as well. At the start, you saw. I mean, even at the start, Oscar came very close to Lando in the beginning. Lando didn't have a good start at all. If you
Yeah.
of the race,
So I think it's like the McLarens had a very good, start. Both of them did have a good start. Oscar obviously got the better start, and then Lando could consolidate and apply pressure up front on Max. But I feel that the McLaren's tires kept going away compared to Max's, and obviously
yeah,
the superior car is the Red Bull still under the Max Verstappen compared to the McLaren's. I think the McLaren's
yeah,
are very close now to Red Bull. They're going to compete with them
yeah.
at every track, and even on a sprint race, they are right there with them. It's just that Red Bull under Max with Max have a few extra, probably a tenth or so every lap that they're able to unearth that the McLarens are not able to. So I guess
Yeah.
towards the end, Lando was held up by Oscar, and maybe if Lando got past, he could have maybe closed the gap to Max further. But that's probably for the race. We're going to see
I
that
mean,
if it could happen in the race.
I don't know, man. If Lando couldn't overtake Oscar, who was doing time management, like Bernie Collins said,
Hmm.
I really don't think he was catching Max at that point. But yeah, we'll see tomorrow with the added thing of pit stops and all of that, how it
Yeah.
goes. Uh, I mean,
McLaren
obviously,
really have to play the right strategy, or with both the cars. I
yeah,
think they have
yeah,
a clear advantage. They're going to have two cars up against one, because I don't think Sergio Perez is going to be in the top five in qualifying.
not
At
at
this
all.
point, he's probably destined to start seventh or eighth behind everyone at the top of the field. So the
Yeah,
McLarens will
basically.
have a clear advantage. They'll have two cars versus one, so they'll have to play the right strategy tomorrow. And unless
Yeah,
something bizarre happens in qualifying, I see Verstappen, Norris, and Piastri being the top three.
yeah. I think even in this grid, right? I mean, Perez being eighth is kind of where he's at, right, behind the other seven of the four teams.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if he was in a worse car, I mean, like, come on, man, he he qualified way ahead of the Alpine. So if he was in any other car, he's probably not even getting out of Q1 at this point. I mean, doesn't even get out of Q1 with the Red Bull. So
He's already he's gone through Q1. He's not passed. I mean, he went out of Q1, went out of Q2 as well. So
yeah, but
he
yeah,
had his
otherwise,
fair
yeah,
share of worst performances.
Alonso had another shocker of a race. He dropped three positions. Meanwhile, not Lando, what am I saying? Lance Stroll gained two positions, right? Both him and Kevin Magnussen kind of overtook the Alpines of Ocon and Gasly along with Charles. Charles had
Hmm.
another great start. Immediately
Very
at
good
the,
start.
at the start, he was immediately ahead of the two Alpines, and
Yeah.
few then he overtook Checo as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we could see between Charles could never properly catch up to Lewis, and I think Carlos was just helped most of the time with DRS behind Russell. So,
Yeah,
um,
so it does seem that Mercedes versus Ferrari is going to be like a separate battle this race, and they just like that few couple of tenths behind McLaren, Red Bull. It does seem like so. It's a little sad because it would have been nice to have a four car, or I would say a four constructor battle for the win,
I think
but
we'll probably we may see that next weekend though at Silverstone. Right? Mercedes is typically very strong there. Um, Red Bull and McLaren are obviously very very strong. So we might see a closer battle at Silverstone probably,
we
unless
hope.
we got a blinder and wins by 30 seconds again. I mean that can also happen.
No, I mean I don't see that happening, because at this point McLaren has caught up quite a bit, that they are able to be there with him every race and every sprint race. So I think Silverstone. Let's see how it goes. We have still a week for that, but let's see how qualifying shapes up. I still believe that it could be the top three from the sprint who will be in the top three in qualifying, but the order could be reversed. Maybe Norris pulls out a special lap like we saw in Catalonia last weekend as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we could very well see a McLaren on pole again this time around. So let's just wait and watch. And we have quali in just about a few hours from now, so it's going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
About, I think 3 hours from now. Yeah. We also having it clash with the final.
Yeah, teams will have some time to do some setup changes as well, so the park firmware will be open. So let's
Park
see if
from is
anyone comes up with something different, and believe that McLaren probably can do a little fine tuning. Probably teams might adjust towards trying to get their car tuned up for qualifying. So let's see if any other team apart from Red Bull and Max can do something different. And yeah,
and
I think apart from that, Fernando, as you said, bad start, bad finish, got overtook
yeah,
by Nico Hulkenberg. I think was it Nico Hulkenberg right towards the end, but then obviously that's going to be investigated. I think
yeah,
after the session.
it was Nico, and then Daniel just swooped in, took advantage of that, and
Hmm.
it basically became a double overtake at that point.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, another person who had, I mean, not a spectacular race because he finished 18th, but a good race, we say, was Alex Albon. Started from the pit lane, right? So obviously a good distance behind anybody else, but he ended the sprint within DRS range of Logan Sargent, who finished 17th, who
Hmm.
actually,
Who's
dropped two
actually
places.
started
But
14th or 15th, I think, right?
yeah, he started 15, but yeah, he was
Yeah.
overtaken by Daniel and who else? Yeah, Hulkenberg. So,
Yeah.
um, but Albon had, I think, a decent race. So I guess Williams would be happy with the setup changes they have done. Going from pit lane to almost getting 17. Maybe another lap he could have gotten 17th out of Logan. So good race for I guess Albon. But yeah, I'm kind of yeah, Williams wouldn't be too pleased, right? They're back to 17th and 18th after kind of fighting for points in a few races.
Yeah.
Um, And same with kicks off, but the 90th and 20th, they look to slowly become a midfield team, but they have gone backwards, and Alpine is suddenly way out in front. Yeah, it's interesting how the midfield battle is shaping up.
Yeah,
Um, Become also the big upgrade last week, and it's kind of been, I guess, a dud. Uh,
yeah. I've heard people say that it's not been the best kind of or the best of upgrades for them. So let's see how the race shapes up. We have a interesting 71.
have also had upgrades this weekend. They're a new front wing and front suspension, right? So
Yeah, clearly they're doing a lot to catch Red Bull, and they are
yeah,
just, as we discussed, they're just about there, just like finding a tenth here and there.
hot take. This is a hot take, but I think if we didn't have the cost cap, McLaren would have caught Red Bull by now.
I mean, I would think that that'll be the case for some other teams also, like Ferrari and Mercedes, who still could develop further, but just the cost cap might
Ferrari,
be
I don't know,
preventing.
man. How did Ferrari to when there's no cost cap? They're still trailing everything.
I mean, they were there at the front for half the season, but then they lost it. So
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, I think good sprint. We'll wait for how the quali goes, and we'll
yeah,
see like if the grid shapes out as we are expecting it, or if there are any surprises. And
yeah.
we'll try to react to the qualifying if we get a session or get some slot in between, or maybe we'll just do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll probably come back after the race tomorrow, most likely at this point. But yeah, everybody, all of you, like, comment, share, subscribe, invite your friends, and we'll see you tomorrow after the race.
Yep. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching this, and stay tuned for the race. We'll come with the review for that.
Yeah, see you, folks.